In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the top 5 kings in Westeros history. Starting us off at number 5, we have Aegon V, called the Unlikely. The fourth son of Maekar, Aegon V was chosen to become the next king at the Great Council of 233 AC. He was called Aegon the Unlikely because, as the fourth son of a fourth son, no one expected him to get anywhere near the Iron Throne. Aegon, also known as Egg, which we will see in the new Game of Thrones show, grew up squiring for a hedge knight named Duncan the Tall and traveling the Seven Kingdoms disguised as a peasant. His early stories are told in George Martin's Duncan Egg novel. To the dismay of many lords, Egg gave more rights and protections to the common folk. He also sent supplies and food to the north during a harsh winter. These actions bred discontent among his lords, leading a frustrated Egg to try and hatch new dragons so he could back up his proclamations with more strength. Like his father, Maekar, Egg had succession problems as his sons were not keen on the marriage proposals he made for them. His heir, Duncan the Small, even abdicated his position to marry a low-born girl named Jenny of Oldstones. After decades of dealing with unhappy lords and 2 more Blackfire rebellions, Egg gathered his family at the Targaryen palace of Summerhall. While nobody knows what truly happened, it is hypothesized that Egg was attempting to conduct a fire ritual to hatch dragon eggs. The ritual ended in tragedy as the palace burned to the ground, while Egg, his friend Duncan the Tall, his son Duncan, and possibly many others were inside. While Summerhall burned, Rhaela Targaryen was giving birth to Rhaegar Targaryen, the brother of Daenerys. The Summerhall tragedy possibly led to the birth of Jon Snow. At number 4, we have Daeron the Good. The son of Aegon the Unworthy, Daeron II ruled Westeros for 25 years. After his father's crazy reign, Daeron worked to undo the corruption and replace Aegon's advisors with men capable of wielding power. One of his 2 big accomplishments as king was finally uniting Dorne with the Seven Kingdoms for good. And while Daeron I conquered it, and Baelor I brokered peace with an act of faith, Daeron II married his sister Daenerys to the Prince of Dorne, Maron Martell. And prior to becoming king, Daeron married Maron's sister Mariah Martell. It was these marriages that finally brought Dorne into the fold on a permanent basis. After years of conflict with Dorne, many were uncomfortable as Daeron began to surround himself with Dornish advisors. His son and heir Baelor Breakspear had the dark features of a Dornishman instead of the blonde hair and the velvet eyes of the Targaryens. Contempt was brewing among the lords, leading to Daeron's second great accomplishment, putting down the first Blackfire rebellion. Daeron tried to keep the peace with his siblings, even arranging a marriage for Daemon Blackfire. However, because he had legitimized his bastards, many saw Daemon Blackfire as a more worthy king than Daeron. Taking advantage of the malcontent in Westeros, Daemon Blackfire and his half-brother Aegar Bittersteel Rivers launched a rebellion against the crown. After a year of fighting, the first Blackfire rebellion came to an end at the Battle of the Redgrass Field. Daemon Blackfire and his 2 eldest sons were killed while Bittersteel fled across the narrow sea to found the Golden Company. At number 3, we have Viserys II. Viserys II is the second son of Rhaenyra and Daemon Targaryen. Although he technically only ruled for a year, he served as hand of the king for decades, basically ruling from behind the scenes under several different monarchs. We've already met Viserys II and his brother Aegon III on House of the Dragon as babies. In a little bit of foreshadowing, King Viserys I remarks that his grandson of the same name has the makings of a king. And what I'm going to say next is a little bit of spoilers for House of the Dragon, so if you don't want that, either stop watching or skip ahead. And during the Dance of Dragons, Viserys and his brother Aegon, the younger, are sent away from the conflict to be fostered in Pentos, which we've seen. Halfway through the journey, their ship is set upon by pirates. Aegon is able to escape on his young dragon Stormcloud. Viserys is left behind and for years is believed to be dead. In fact, Viserys survived and he lives in Lys for years in service to a magister. He would eventually marry the daughter of a powerful banker and return to Westeros during the reign of his brother King Aegon III. Viserys' return was said to be the only true joy of Aegon's life, and the brothers grew close upon their reunion. Aegon eventually made Viserys' hand a position he kept for the next 30 years, which is a long time in Westeros politics, during the reigns of both of Aegon's sons Daeron I and Baelor I. His actions during this time were instrumental in keeping the realm together, as Daeron was preoccupied with war and Baelor with religion. Daeron was the one who actually cared about ruling. He was shrewd and capable, and during his short reign, he created a new royal mint, increased trade with foreign nations, and updated the code of laws. Had to reign for longer, he might have done as much good for the realm as Jaehaerys I before him. At number 2, we have the man who founded the Targaryen dynasty, Aegon the Conqueror. Aegon and his sister wives Rhaenys and Visenya used the might of their dragons to bring Westeros to its knees. Initially, the Targaryens were just another house in Westeros, residing on the island of Dragonstone. They were one of 3 families that had survived the destruction of Valyria. But seeing the 7 kingdoms independent as one country, Aegon decided to invade with dragons and establish dominance over the realm. The spot where he landed on the Westerosi mainland was initially known as the Aegon Fort and later became the capital of King's Landing. Aegon would eventually order the construction of the Red Keep and the Iron Throne. Even though he lacked a big army, Aegon and his sisters proved that dragons could dominate the battlefield, even with a little number of troops backing them up. But knowing that he had the advantage on the field did not make Aegon arrogant or cocky. He had the foresight to understand that he needed to respect the customs of Westeros, or the lords would never faithfully serve him. So he embraced the faith of the 7, adopted Westerosi hierarchy, and gave each lord the opportunity to bend the knee rather than meet him in battle. The only kingdom that withstood Aegon's onslaught was Dorne, which had employed guerrilla tactics to nullify Aegon's dragon advantage. This led to a full-scale war that lasted 10 years, and Rhaenys and her dragon Meraxes were among the casualties in this war, which ended in a ceasefire in 13 AC. After the war, there was 20 years of peace where Aegon made royal progress to visit his new subjects. At the age of 64, he died of a stroke on Dragonstone, and he was cremated by Vhagar. And at number 1, we have the 4th king of Westeros, Jaehaerys the Conciliator, and he holds the record for the longest reign of any Westerosi monarch, and was arguably the most successful king to ever sit the Iron Throne. After inheriting an unstable realm after the chaotic reign of his uncle Maegor the Cruel, Jaehaerys proved to be a wise and competent leader who united the realm and kept peace for the vast majority of his 55 years. Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne, who was said to have ruled just as much as her husband did, oversaw a golden age in Westeros. They spearheaded a unified code of laws, invested in infrastructure, worked to reduce debt, tax the rich, and more. Jaehaerys and Alysanne were truly in love, despite disapproval from the faith and from the hand of the king Roger Baratheon. They married secretly on Dragonstone, despite Alysanne being betrothed to another. Roger attempted to stop this marriage by showing up with warriors, but Jaehaerys' loyal Kingsguard warned Roger he should be the first to die if he tried to interfere any further. Unable to break their bond, Roger was eventually dismissed as the Hand. Despite the couple having 13 children, few of them would live longer than Jaehaerys. His 2 eldest sons, Aemon and Balon, died young, leaving the old king without an experienced heir. This resulted in the Great Council of 101 AC, where Aemon's daughter Rhaenys was passed over in favor of Balon's son Viserys. The creation of this precedent would later be one of the main reasons the Dance of the Dragons broke out, and that, of course, is what we're seeing happening in House of the Dragon. So there you have it. That's my list of the top 5 kings in Westeros history. What would you change? What would you add? What are your thoughts? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.